Welcome back, everyone. In this new Clara.io video, I'm going to show you how to model a simple table. So this is what we're going to end up with when we're done. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing I like to do is I like to open up some reference images so I can kind of see what the end goal is, what I'm heading for. It also gives me an idea of if there are any trouble spots or anything like that. I'm not going to model the little, wooden nails or screws or anything like that. All right, so this is going to be modeled all out of the box tool and using some new things that I haven't shown in previous videos. So I'm going to start off by coming up here to File, New, Empty Scene. I'm going to create a new scene. Click on Create. All right, so typically you start off in Clara.io with 4 views, and I think that that's really helpful. I know a lot of beginners like to start off with just one view because it's easier on your eyes, so I'll do that at first. So to switch to one view, I'm going to come up here to where it says perspective, and I'm going to click this double diagonal arrow here, and that maximizes that one view. I'm going to click on the box tool so that it adds in a box. And the tools we're going to be using today are going to be move, rotate, although we won't really need rotate today, and scale. I'm going to be using the keyboard shortcuts so that everybody can start getting used to those, and they will show on the screen so that you start getting used to them. Now, this is going to be for the tabletop or the table base. I could use the scale tool and just start scaling this down and just kind of start eyeballing it. So you could do this, and you could just start doing it like that, right? I'm going to undo that. What I'm going to show you today is over here on the right, when you have the box selected, just come over here and you're going to see a tab called the Properties tab. Make sure you're on the Properties tab. Then make sure that you're in this first category here called Poly Mesh. Inside the Poly Mesh category, you'll see 3 boxes that say depth, width, and height. And inside there, those 3 numbers, you can change how this box looks. So I'm going to change the depth. I'm going to go ahead and try, if I want a perfectly square box, I could do something like 4, and then I'll press return. And for the width, I'll try 4. Okay, so that could be a nice square table. Obviously, it's too high, so instead of a height of 1, I'd want to go to a decimal, like maybe 0.3. Okay, so maybe that's still a little too high. I'll try 0.1. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, I think this is going to be my table base. So that's going to be this bottom part here, which is the frame, the base that the tabletop is actually sitting on. So I'm going to make it a little bit higher. I'm going to do 0.2 and leave it at that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to do the legs now, and then I'll finish up on the tabletop. So I'm going to go back to my full array view, and I'm going to go ahead and add in a new box. There we go. And I'm going to use the settings over here on the right to make it really quickly. All right, so for a depth, I'm going to try 0.2, 0.2 for the width. And the way that I'm jumping from from box to box here is I'm just pressing the tab key in between. So I type in 0.2, tab. It goes down to the next one, 0.2, tab. You can just click with your mouse, but pressing tab is much faster. Okay, and that's a pretty short table leg, so I need to make the height. I'm going to go ahead and try 2. And that looks pretty good. And I'll go 2.5. Okay, that looks better. All right, so now in the left or the front view, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to drag it and I'll zoom in. drag it so it's just touching the base there. Now, if you're having trouble getting it in there and it's going like partially into the tabletop, that's fine as well. But if you can be precise, that's great. Awesome. Okay, good. Two new keyboard shortcuts that are going to help you out a lot are the letter A and the letter F. So if you have an object selected, like this table leg, if you press F, you're going to frame that object. And you're basically going to focus and zoom in on it. So F means frame. If you press A, it means all, and you're going to see all of the objects in your scene. Okay? So F to frame, A to focus. All right, so now if I'm looking in my top view, and actually let me go ahead and I'm going to change the base. I'm going to make it more of a rectangular base instead of a square base. So over here, instead of the depth being 4, I'm going to try making that to 6. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. So it's kind of more of a dining room table sort of thing. Okay, so now I'm going to select the table leg, and I'm going to go ahead and move it over here to one corner. And I'm doing this in the top view just because I can kind of see where it's going. And I'm going to always check in my other views just to see, does that look right? Okay, good. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clone, I'm going to duplicate. So we have the table leg selected. We go Edit, Clone, and we make sure it says Copy. And we click OK. Then I'm going to drag it over. And if you're wondering, where was the clone? Well, it sits right on top of the individual one. And you can see there it is right there. Okay, so I'm looking in my front view, I'm looking in my perspective view, and I'm checking in my top view so I can really see what's going on. There we go. Okay, so now I want to clone both of these so I end up with 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to left mouse click in an open spot, and that deselects all. Now to select these two, I'm going to left mouse click, hold down the left mouse button, and drag a selection box. And whatever that selection box goes around, when I let go of the left mouse button, it will then select. Okay, I'll show you that in the perspective window. You can do that here as well. Left mouse click, drag a selection box, and it selects both of them. Okay, I don't recommend that you try it in the top view because you'll end up selecting the tabletop as well. Okay, so I'm going to select those two legs, edit, clone. Okay, again, the clones are hiding underneath, so I'm just going to come down here to my side view and drag them off, and there we are. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now I just need my tabletop, and I'll put in a floor also. So I'm going to make the tabletop from the table base. So there's my table base. I'm going to select it, edit, clone, okay, and I'm going to drag it up so you can see it. All right, I'm going to zoom in so you can see it better. And for this one, I'm going to use the scale tool. And so I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to press R. I'm going to come here to this little white dot in the center, left mouse click, and I'm just going to eyeball it. Just drag it. Doesn't quite seem to be working. What's going on? So what's strange is no matter what direction I drag in, it doesn't seem to like it. Let's try up here in the perspective view. If this doesn't work, I'm going to come over here to the numbers. Okay, so that worked really well in the perspective view. I'm not sure why one view worked and the other one didn't. I think it's because in the side view over here, I was actually clicking and dragging on the x-axis, the red handle, and that's why it was acting that way. If you don't like doing it, manipulating it by hand with a little center white dot there, you can just come over here and you can type in numbers. So instead of 6 and 4, I might want something like 6.2 and 4.2 or something like that. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this by hand here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to make the height 0.1 and press return. So that way the tabletop is a little thinner. I'm going to go back to the move tool. I'm going to drag it down here and get it right on top. And there you go. You can see that it's, there we go. Pretty darn close. Okay, good. I'm going to press A so I can see all. And I'm going to lift it up so it's standing on the grid. So I'm going to left click, deselect all, left mouse click and drag, select the whole table. I'm on the move tool, so I'm going to move it up, put it on top of the grid. There we are. And I'm going to add in a plane. So come up here to my tools, and I'm going to click on this tool here, add a plane. I'm going to go ahead and scale that. So I'll press R to scale. Left mouse click on that center white dot and just scale it up. Maximize my view so you can check it out. And there we are. You can see it. Okay, I hope this helps you out, and I will see you next time. Happy modeling.